Welcome to Well, That Didn't Work, a podcast about a bunch of friends getting together to pretend to be other people, creatures, and things, doing things that mostly don't work out for them. I am your host and your GM, Percy, and with me I've got Mike.
And I'm playing Udell Ivy.
Jason.
And I'm playing Lukia.
Rick.
I'm playing Kiklik.
And Chris.
I'm playing Varro Dorkan.
Last time on Urban Stars, Lukia began in a gladiatorial combat in which she was fighting against several other combatants in a three-ring fight, essentially, where the central ring nearly got her killed because it amplified damage. The middle ring was full of traps that was quite comical. We only saw two of the traps. I'll have to pull some of those out later. And the final ring was made of ice, and we watched somebody slip off the side of it and lose the combat. After a little while in this ring, there was a sort of explosion, demolition / bug man who released 70 apartments down a wall and caused a big kerfuffle. And Kiklik, in his accidental release of these people, wound up inadvertently killing the one person who might have a lead to his brother, who's been missing for a few weeks now. With the aid of Udell, Sunny Beaches. Never gonna get your name right.
All right, I will change it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just like reading it on paper. Well, I spent 2 weeks saying Udell. All right, Udell
gonna beat them Saints.
Udell, along with his friend Norris Hacken, came to those apartments where they lived to get Norris's things out of his apartment that had fallen down the side of the wall, and Varho and his captain, his teammate. What was her name? Did you write it down?
I did.
I also wrote it down, but I want you to remember because I won't.
Now the question is, can I read my handwriting?
That's a great question.
Does that mean no one else can?
Her name was Neri.
Neri. So they came as first responders in the Teresian police force and began rescuing people. And then Lukia, knowing kind of the ins and outs of the synthetic waterfall that lined the wall, separating the lower city from the undercity, was able to turn off that waterfall, stop the flooding that was inadvertently going to happen, and wound up being quite instrumental in the rescue of the rest of the people that had fallen down the wall. After that, Lukia's boss, Lugnug, the Gamorrean pit boss, met with all of you and charged you with finding the killer of his pet Nexu, who had sent a very clear message that Lukia found in the form of the Nexu Gregory being essentially stapled to a wall at sword point. That's kind of where you guys left off. Everybody kind of accepted the job, as awkward as the presentation of the job might have been. And it's been 3 weeks since that happened. So what have you been doing over the last 3 weeks?
I would have been researching everything I can to find my brother. So searching down leads, I would go into the computers and see if, because Verpine aren't real common, any, information, any sightings, anything that I could possibly find.
Yeah, see if there's any reports.
Absolutely.
Of your brother. Go ahead and roll me a computer check. It'll be average.
That's 2.
Yep.
Well, you were successful.
Yeah,
and you avoided your threat.
And
you have one advantage. Very nice. All right, cool. So with your one success, I'm going to say you succeed in finding something. That advantage is going to let you dictate what it was. What did you find? It cannot be that you found his location or anybody that's like named him. Basically, you'll find some like semblance of, hey, there was something weird that happened.
Like not a sighting?
Yeah, not a direct sighting. If you had rolled a triumph, you would be able to get obviously more information, but because it was just an advantage, like I'm letting you spin the advantage to create a fact about what your brother's been doing on planet.
Could it be that some other Verpine have come to Taris?
I think that's more of a triumph as well. This was just strictly you looking for information. Now, maybe later down the road we can determine that they were other Verpine, but right now this is what information you found that Verpine are here. Period.
Right.
So it's like there was a bug in a bar. There was something like that, something along those lines.
Well, we do know that the
just
one
a trail.
that the one Verpine was at the fight.
Yeah. And what was his name again?
Kalash, I believe.
Yeah, it was something like that.
His brother's name is Kalist. We'll just call him.
Well, you actually said a name in the last episode.
Did I?
So.
Well, we can go back to that. No.
Rewind the tape.
Yeah, he's not a brother of him, so I would say Molest.
Okay. Yeah, if we need to
List.
retcon that.
Okay, we
Then
can
we
do
will.
that. So, what would I have found out?
So it's
from
kind of
him?
you would have found you found out from him that both of their antennae had been broken.
Okay.
So neither of them is able to communicate through the Verpine like radio waves.
Right, but have I been able to talk to him?
Yeah, I mean you can have like conversation. Essentially, what you would find out from him is that the two were separated. Right now, though, we need to figure out what your computer's check found.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, this is about the computer's check. That can be role played in a little while, but this is strictly about the computer's check. Now, if you would like me to kind of help you figure that out
Well,
and
'cause
to,
I'm not-
to give you
yeah.
a breadcrumb instead of you coming up with
Certainly.
it. Yeah, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce a fact
Right.
if you wanted to. But I'll say there is a brief news story about it. It's from a journalist who uses some sort of pseudonym, so you weren't able to find out who actually posted this news story because it was not a real name, but they recorded the kidnapping.
Video recorded.
No, just a writing, like a write up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just like a newspaper entry, a little really brief, risky newspaper entry.
Did it have any descriptions?
I mean, it described what a Verpine was.
And they were grabbed.
Yeah, and it names the casino that they were at and all of that stuff. So it's definitely them. And it was like 2 bug people were grabbed.
Okay. And this was a news reporter that used the name.
The pseudonym, we'll go with Garth.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
pseudonym Garth. Garth of Terrace.
Okay.
All right, cool. So, Jason, what has Lukia been doing in the time being?
I think she would be using her underworld contacts to kind of get a feel for the situation. Kind of going through old channels, a little bit of old news. Lugnug and her kind of go back a ways, and they probably have some of the same contacts, but some of them are maybe a little different. But I would also be, because of the charge I was given by Lugnug last time out, is to make sure that that Varco is kind of on the up and up, and that we can work with him going forward. That was kind of one of my secret orders.
Yeah, he wants you to kind of keep an eye on it and make sure everything's going well.
Right.
With that relationship. Okay.
So I think I would probably just be networking.
All right. So what's I guess to cover both of those things, let's roll a streetwise. And with a success, you are able to tail Varho, so you know what he's been up to. With any advantage, you can come up with kind of a fact or two that you were able to find from your cohorts in the underworld.
Sounds good. I was actually pre-planning an underworld check,
Yeah.
but
So let's do a hard check.
oh, hard
Yeah, because you're trying to accomplish 2 things in these 3 weeks.
works for me.
Yeah.
Well, I was successful
You did succeed
with one threat.
with 1 threat. Okay, so you find something out, and you don't know that it's not true, but it's not 100% true.
Can't validate, but I at least was able
Exactly.
to keep an eye on Varco.
Yeah, and somebody thinks that one of Lugnug's pit boss pals has done this, and they give you the name Empirico.
Empirico.
Yes, and Empirico is an ex-Mandalorian. Makes him a great pit boss leader.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess technically he's still a Mandalorian. He's still from Mandalore, but he's no longer like hunky-dory with his house.
Right.
Not affiliated with him anymore.
So yeah, exactly. He's not
He's
a
an out-
Mandalorian soldier. He's an outcast.
Yeah, he's an outcast
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
So go ahead and write down Empirico.
Damn it.
I feel like we're on a submarine or something, you know, and there's a destroyer up above.
Don't sneeze.
All right.
I was gonna say we could start singing, but
All right,
then
let's see
again,
if I
I've
can-
seen too many World War II sub movies.
Let's see if I can make this work again. Because that headset's getting on my nerves tonight. All right. So that's what you're able to find out. Now, a part of that is untrue. You don't know what. You just know that, like, somebody heard that Empirico's involved. They think that he ordered Gregory's demise.
That's cool. But with the success, I was able to kind of keep.
Yeah, you kept tabs on Varho. Yeah. So, Varho, what did you do during this time? Were you just kind of still training? Did you actually do some police work to figure out things about Gregory?
I've been still doing some training in my regular patrols, but I've also used some of this time to try to, look up Lugnug's history, see who his enemies might be, and
Okay.
also just looking for reports of Verpine to help Kiklik find his brother.
Okay, so you're kind of trying two things at once as well.
Yeah.
So let's do. There's not like an investigation skill per se.
No, I've just been going through the records and looking for the feeds that.
Okay,
that
so
the
you want to do
station
kind of
gets.
computers?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, cool. Let's do computers. Because you're trying two things, let's do a hard check.
Okay. Nope.
Nope.
I don't know crap.
You don't know nothing, and in fact, you get the sense that you're being followed. I wonder by who.
I don't know.
So I won't give you any strain because you would, of course, heal that in 3 weeks' time. And then finally, Udell.
There we go.
Got it. Don't worry, I'll forget it later.
Noted.
Make sure you get it a little bit closer.
Noted.
Yeah. Cool. So what are you up to in this time frame?
Well, I'm going to have to go back. What he's going to be here is what he's going to do most of the time. I'm going to go with he's gambling. As
Okay.
many opportunities as he can get, he will be out there hustling.
Cool. So let's just roll either cool, deception. How are you gambling?
Oh, of course I'm cheating.
Of course. Okay, cool. So deception
Is
against...
there, is there any other way?
No. How many times do you go gambling in the 3 week span?
At least once a week.
Okay. So we'll do 2 red and a purple. We started at an average, and I upgraded for each time you went.
All right. Despair. I got caught.
What do you want to do with your 3 advantage?
Get out of jail.
Can I not get caught? Get away. Make a hasty retreat.
Maybe Glug Glug can get you out of it.
Glug glug?
Glug Glug. Yeah.
Glug
Nug,
lug nug.
Lug Nug.
Lugnug.
Glug
I'm
glug
thinking
is his brother.
I'm thinking of Hopper.
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
God.
Glug Glug
Now-
works at the bar.
I did forget one piece, so I do have to throw that out there. Let's see what happens. Oh, well, so
Yeah, you still failed.
yeah, I still failed even worse. So
Cool. So that doesn't count as threat, does it? It's just failure or success.
it does convert an advantage and a success to a threat. Or to
Okay,
a threat
cool.
and a
So
fail.
just 2 advantage
so just
now.
2 advantage.
All right. So what do you want to do with those 2 advantage?
Let's see. So I think my 2 advantages is that I will still keep my deck as they're throwing me out. It's not. They don't realize that I have a marked deck.
Okay. All right. And with that, so now that we know that, that despair is going to be potentially another obligation, I think.
Okay.
In fact, I'm just going to increase your bounty of your marked deck I'm going to increase it by 2.
Fair enough.
One thing too, if we were there for 3 weeks, Kuklik would also probably be trying to ascertain why the wall collapsed, if there's things that he can do to help, and talk to the civil engineers about what they can do.
At some point, you can do that.
That's fine.
But
Yes.
for the 3 weeks, you were looking for your brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your priority. You're a one-track mind at this point because that's the way the Verpine would be. Honestly, they are very. That's why they're suited.
Also,
for
you wouldn't be allowed into the crime scene that you created. Cool. So let's go ahead and roll this obligation here, and we'll get really started. 71.
Yep.
Mike, it's your lucky day. Not only is it your obligation, but it's only your obligation because you rolled that despair. Everybody's strain is reduced by 1 temporarily until this is resolved, is what I'll say. Because we're kind of doing these in batches of episodes, so we're like recording 3 or 4 of them at a time.
So basically, we have 1 strain right now.
So no, you're reduced by 1.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're at 13.
Your cap is lowered
because
by
you're
1.
at 14. You're going to be at 13 temporarily.
Yeah.
And once this obligation is resolved, at the next session, we'll roll a new one.
Gotcha.
Whether it increases or decreases is totally up to you guys.
So what do we have to do to resolve this obligation?
Well, he's got a bounty on himself due to his marked deck. And now, thanks to his activities in the last 3 weeks, someone who wants him to pay for that bounty has now noticed where he is
Uh-oh.
and where he's operating out of.
So you took money from
So,
somebody
yeah, so
with your
yours-
marked deck.
Your strain is reduced by 2
Okay.
instead of 1 because your obligation got rolled.
Man, I am going to faint soon.
Yay, painting.
All right. Actually, PTSD. Got it. Love it. Okay.
All right, cool. So now we can begin your hunt for whoever killed Gregory. So who would like to kind of start this thing? Not like, don't give me like your action, but who wants to be in the opening scene?
Well, I'll go ahead and take point on that because
Okay.
what I was thinking is as Lugnug's kind of right-hand woman, one of, let's just say.
Yeah, you're just one of the champions.
Right,
You're not quite that high on his food chain.
Right, but I am at this point in time the party's point of contact is that I would have probably called everybody together to at least.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna have you start it.
Okay.
You'll be able to call people up once you have some information to
Cool.
go off of. So as you are in your search to find #Justice for Gregory, you are in kind of the wall mount in one of the downward staircases. It's very wet and moist. The waterfall is back on, and you're just kind of wandering through because of the waterfall. There's a lot of mold. There's a lot of like algae. There's a lot of slippery spaces on the inside of the wall because it's not very well contained. Like we said before, it's very old. There are parts of it that are very, very broken. And so as you're kind of wandering through this dimly lit staircase, essentially, that's several stories. There's no elevator to the Undercity.
Oh yeah.
It's just stairs or falling. It's basically, you could fly, I guess, but falling is so much better.
That's a kind of flying, just in one
It is
direction.
kind of
Yeah.
flying.
Well, I
It's
mean-
flying until you stop.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
no,
like a
forcibly.
flying squirrel flies.
That's right.
no. Flying is just the act of falling, but hitting the ground and missing. Let's remember our Douglas Adams, everybody.
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
fair.
Well, throwing us over the ground and missing. Not hitting the ground and missing.
Yeah, that would be weird. All right, so you're climbing stairs. You're not falling. I almost said you're falling. you're climbing down these stairs.
I mean, I could make an athletics check. We could find out if I'm falling or not.
your athletics check would determine how cool you looked while you fell to your death.
I mean,
That would be
Wouldn't
it.
that be a cool
That would be the entire thing. Yeah, maybe cool.
if I rolled a triumph, there could have been a cord that I grabbed onto and swung across a chasm like Indiana Jones.
There's no chasm. It's wall down,
I'm aware.
thousands of feet down.
I'm aware, but there still could be some sort of cord or root that I could grab onto.
Yeah, but there's no chasm.
You get what I'm saying.
So you climb down through the stairwell.
I'm gonna flip a destiny point for a chasm.
No, I don't think you brought a chasm with you.
You're not checking my pockets. I mean,
It's a throwdown chasm.
Portachasm.
Kind of a chasm.
He's got
just
a marked
creative
deck. He
chasm.
could have a throwdown chasm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
3D
Let's-
chalk does wonders.
I think that's a yeah. Just ask the Roadrunner. All right, so you're wandering down these stairs. We're never going to get out of this stairwell, by the way.
I know.
You're wandering down these stairs, and at some point you do see some dried green Nexu blood.
Cool. So I will kind of stop to investigate and kind of look around. I have my scanner goggles on me. I don't know if that would help in this situation, if it would provide any light or any additional details that I could use to...
You could potentially use it to give yourself kind of a little bit of a night vision-esque sort of a Batman Arkham City, like be able to kind of look around and see maybe what's broken. Was there a sign of a struggle? That kind of thing.
Yeah, just enough light to kind of help give me a little bit more in the scene. If that provides me a boost, we can run it that way, or however you want to run it. I'm just letting you know
Scanner
I do.
goggles for sure. You'll get a boost.
I'm just letting you know that I do have that, and that would help me see, because I'm assuming the light is probably next to nil.
Yeah. So go ahead and pull out the scanner goggles and make a hard perception check.
All right.
You get a boost for the scanner goggles.
Well, I also get a boost because I have uncanny senses, so I will get 2 boosts.
Okay.
So, and then my perception is 2 green and a yellow. So, I like my odds, but we shall see.
All right. Go for it.
And a triumph.
Nice.
And I am successful because my boosts help me here.
You are with a bunch of advantage. It looks like. Well, you got no advantage.
No advantage. It negated the threat. So triumph with a
One
success.
advantage.
There's one advantage left over in
one
that.
advantage.
Look at the green die off to the side. There's one advantage.
Yeah.
Manager's got 4 advantage.
You got
Yeah,
3
he's
on
got-
the boost and
Oh,
1
you
on
got.
the...
Okay, I was
yeah.
counting one of those
Yep.
failures as threats.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So one advantage. So
1 advantage, 1 success, and a triumph.
yeah. So you succeed. You find a portion of the piping along the stairwell that's been cracked and snapped in 2. You can tell that there was definitely some sort of struggle. So most likely, whoever had Gregory had him like on a leash of some kind and was not transporting him already dead. So they killed him most likely while he was on the staircase.
Here or very near here.
Probably where you found him.
Okay.
That was probably the death blow.
Okay.
But it still seems strangely like dry, like there wasn't much blood.
Right. So this was just a temporary struggle before. Was there... help remind the players and myself, was there a lot of blood at the scene of the crime?
No, there was very little.
Okay, so he was probably...
It seemed at the time like he was killed before he was put there. Now, an argument could be made that the waterfall washed away a lot of the blood because the staircase was on the inside of the waterfall.
Right.
So it was kind of could have been one way or the other.
It's hard to say. Are you dictating my triumph, or do I still get
No,
one?
you've got that unless you have no idea what to do.
No, I do know what I would like it
Okay.
to do, is that in the midst of all the blood, I find signs, and this is where you will take over, but at least I find signs of the aggressor or the attacker, some form of tangible evidence that it's not a lot, but it's at least a lead to go on.
You find a patch of fur.
Can I recognize the species?
Roll a survival.
Okay. Difficulty?
Average.
Average. Perfect. So there's the 2 purple. I'm not taking those as what those values are.
Yeah, I wouldn't want those.
But
Those are better than a lot of failures.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not as good as blanks, though.
No.
Yeah. So I am rolling up my survival. I am not successful,
You
But
want to take
I have-
those other die?
but I have
You have 3 advantage.
I have 3 advantage.
Okay, cool. So you do not recognize where the fur is from, but
Well, I know what I would like to use for my advantage, if that's okay.
yeah.
Is that with my dealings and other things is that in Lugnug's crew is a pretty good xenobiologist who would know. So it's not a difficult thing for me to get in touch with someone who would know.
You guys know somebody who knows somebody who can get it done.
Well, because the gladiatorial combat people would probably need a medic who can handle multiple races and species. So there's probably one either, if not on staff, it's a short call away.
Cool.
So that's how I would like to use all that advantage.
Okay, great. That's what I was going to do with it anyway.
Good.
So I wasn't necessarily going to put him as a part of Lugnug's retinue, but I'm fine with it. Cool. So you're kind of in this stairwell looking through that stuff. Let's move over to Kuklik for a few minutes.
Yes.
Kuklik, you've been looking for signs of your brother or hive mates or just kind of any sign of Verpine intelligence anywhere that you can find it on Terrace. And you've stumbled across an expert in Verpine xenobiology that's here on planet.
Oh my.
Somebody who can perhaps help find a way to locate a Verpine based on pheromone emissions or any other number of things. There are a lot of things that the Verpine know about themselves, but there are still things that are simply natural to them that they don't necessarily have a grasp on. They've never had to.
True.
So if you would like to visit him, that is certainly available to you at some point. You'll have to make an appointment with him and all that kind of stuff. So what do you want to do with that information versus kind of working with Lugnug? So you've kind of got two options on how you can begin to trace this down. You can either go with Lugnug's sources, or you can go with this source that you've found on your own.
I'm going to go with, I'm not sure that I completely trust Lugnug.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go with on my own path, and I'm going to try to find this guy, make an appointment with him, and find him. I have some ideas of...
Okay, great. So just to have a conversation with him, because he's a research specialist,
Right.
it'll cost you some cred.
Oh, I've got lots. Street cred? What kind of
No,
cred?
credits.
Credits?
Yeah.
That's not something I have.
I didn't think it would be. He is quite high up on the scientific food chain. Not only would you have to pay 300 credits just to see him, you've also got to find a way into the upper city.
This makes it a lot more difficult.
It does.
So I
tickets
have
to the upper city are usually class-based.
Okay. So I guess I am probably going to have to put that on hold until I can find a way to get credits. Though I could possibly go talk to Udell and say, you seem to have a way of getting money. Udell, I may need your help. I need some credits.
Well, don't we all need credits?
So I don't know that you guys are necessarily together yet.
Oh, okay.
But in the process of going to find Udell, how do you guys communicate with each other? Now that you know, like, Lugnug wants you kind of working together, how do you think you guys stay in touch? Just to kind of give each other information.
I'll graft some antenna onto him.
I brought these antennae. Just stick them in your neck.
That is not your neck, sir. Anyway, I was just going to go standard with comm links. Just
okay, cool.
We
You guys
have
have
a little frequency
channel?
that we use, channel that we use.
All right. So you guys contact each other and you find a time to meet up.
Okay.
And while you're on your way there, actually just before you go into where he would be, you feel kind of a light sting on the left side of your hip. But when you reach down to touch it, there's nothing there.
Which would have to be serious because I've got a carapace.
Yeah. So you feel
And I
a
don't
light
see-
sting, and you don't see where it would come from, and there's nothing, like no blood, nothing coming out of it. So it's just kind of a light sting, and then it's gone.
I would probably want to find out. That would bother me. That would really bother me. I'd really have to research why. Is there, well, the xenobiologist I want to go see could possibly check it out. Okay. But my other question is, I don't know that I would trust him more than Lugna. Because even though we've been told to work together, he seems like a rather shady character. And I watched him at the wall, and he didn't help at all. You know, he got his stuff, but he was more interested in his own skin than helping all the people down below. So I might actually go to Lugnug before I would go to you at this point. I'm trying to think who.
Okay, well, you already went to him and got stuck.
Okay, all right.
So we can't
gotcha.
keep making 7 decisions and picking the best one.
No, I'm trying to think of it in character. But anyway, go ahead. That's
Yeah,
fine.
sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. So you feel this sting, and then you walk into where you guys had decided to meet. And where is that? You probably know the scenery and where safe places are a little bit better, Udell, than Kuklik does. He seems to be kind of not head in the clouds, but head in his own tech.
Right. Well, I think since I haven't heard or heard anything from Norris in probably a little bit here, I would be more curious about trying to figure out where he's at and what happened with the several thousand credits and trying to pay down some of the issues that we had sitting over our heads. But I think just for narrative's sake, Udell, after botching what he botched and had to run this last couple of weeks, I think he's going to be kind of avoiding the cantina scene just temporarily. I think you'll probably run into him more or less just standard little cafe that's right there in the area. He's just kind of watching, trying to people watch at this point.
Okay, what's the name of that cafe?
We'll call it the Taurus Underbelly. They specialize in pork. Or let's say space pork.
Taurisian pork.
Specialize in
And we'll just call
pork.
it spork.
You eat it with a spork? Just
No,
call it the spork.
You eat it with trademarked spam.
It survives in space.
All right, cool. So you guys are in the Tara's underbelly, and you're having a whatever space coffee.
Are we going to call that spoffy?
Spoffy.
which is why space spam works. It's just spam.
Got you.
Isn't it spam with a lisp?
No, it's just
Sam?
no, it's
think-
just
Spam.
I think it's spam, 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 spam.
And I didn't mean to take us there.
Just gonna let it happen. What can I do at this point? I've lost all control.
not all control.
Most control.
Udell, it is good to see you. I may need your help.
It's click, right?
Yes, it is click. Nice of you to remember.
What can I do for you?
I need to get credits. I hear you are good at getting credits.
Well, yes, I am good at getting credits, but I seem to need some credits too. So, what kind of credit stack are you working with already? I need to know what we have here.
I have no credits.
You're broke.
No, I'm working fine. Thank you very much. But I have no credits.
It's called slang. You're broke.
I am broke.
There we go.
Okay. But I need credits.
Well, what are you willing to do to get those credits?
I must find my brother, and I have a lead on someone who could possibly help. What is it you require?
Well, what's this lead? Tell me about it.
He is a scientist, a xenobiologist who specializes in verpine, and I have an idea of possibly his antenna are broke, but I believe we could possibly find him with my radio signals, possibly to track him down. And this man might be able to help, but he is in the upper city, and I cannot get up there without credits, and he requires credits to just make an appointment.
The upper city, you say?
Yes, I did.
I seem to recall a certain young lady in the governor's office that invited me to dinner with... I think there was some extension of friendship that was there as well.
Oh,
I might be able to see what I can do. I'll have to reach out to her, but we'll have to do it as you owe me a favor.
I will owe you a favor. Yes, I can do that.
All right. Well, let me reach out to her and see what I can do.
Thank you very much. You've been very kind.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, if you don't mind, will you walk down that direction? I think somebody's staring at me. Or maybe they're staring at you. I don't know. I just need to make sure.
Oh, okay. Do you wish me to be a distraction?
No, just walk. I think you're enough of a distraction.
Okay. Okay. I will see you soon. Contact me.
Not a problem.
Okay.
All right. About that time, you kind of walk off, and the door opens up, and the bartender looks up and sees and grunts in its alien dialect. You know, lots of kind of glorbs and bleeps and snoops.
Glorbs?
It's an alien sound, okay? Don't be racist.
He's probably spitting
Specious.
out the spam.
Species.
Species.
It's an aquatic species.
Lots of glorbs. All right. You got a problem with glorbs?
No, glorbs is fine. It's better than spork.
Glorbs and sporks. It's a new game coming out. So this guy's glorbing away behind the bar, and you know the language, like, you know, it's Star Wars, like, you know what he's saying.
Yeah, I know.
He's just making glorby sounds,
Tachyons.
and I
yes.
don't want to make glorby sounds into the microphone.
We have these.
I think that's
shields here.
fair.
You're destroying my immersion, sir. I need glorby sounds. Much better.
And you know that he said, Detective Kaluve, it's so good to see you again. Welcome back to the underbelly. Underworld.
Underbelly.
Underbelly.
That's right.
I should really learn what the name of my restaurant
You
is.
look at more.
Spent too much time glorbing and not enough time glopping.
Common is not my first language.
That's right.
Just don't bring any.
How do you
vile
say underhide? under bottom? Underbottom. So Detective Kaluve, along with her young charge Varho, walk through the door, and this is kind of a place that you're used to eating when you're in the lower city. It's one of the nicer lower city joints.
Yep.
Cool. And so Varho, on this particular training day, you guys have been practicing quick entry into vehicles.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's been a pretty fun day. I mean, you're 15 years old, so you're probably very excited, a little tired most likely, because it's been like repeatedly Dukes of Hazzard style sliding across the hoods.
Maybe a little
of
bruise and occasional
speeders.
mishap.
Yeah, exactly. You almost fell off of one of the higher cloudscape buildings, and so it's been a really fun day, really exciting morning for you, and you guys are here for lunch, and you notice your friends, and there's no like reason for you to keep your relationship with him secret. Now you're not close yet.
Yeah.
You've still only done the one thing with them, but this is probably the first time that you've seen them since you guys meeting in Lugnug's office.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys interact?
Well, I see Click leaving, and I just kind of wave. Hey, Click.
Hello.
You also do know that he's trying to help look for your brother.
Have you found any information on my brother that could help?
I found out nothing. Have you had any success?
I may have a lead. I actually have found possibly 2 leads. Are you familiar with a writer named Garth?
The name's familiar, but I don't know them offhand, I guess.
You know Garth tends to write about things that nobody should know about. He's got some kind of inside contact with the police force.
Okay.
And there's Ben Adele, who is a xenobiologist that I wish to get in contact with.
Oh, they know something?
Possibly. He specializes in verpine.
Oh, interesting.
Perhaps I have an idea that we might be able to work together that can track him down.
Interesting. Yeah, well, let me know when you go. I'll go there with being help.
Oh, that would be very nice. Thank you.
What's up, Udell? Staying out of trouble?
Oh, of course, I'm always staying out of trouble. You know me. Well, maybe not so much.
Yeah, that's kind of why I asked.
You know, there was this little incident that took place, but I think it's a total misunderstanding.
It usually is.
You know, I'm sitting there minding my own business, playing a game of cards with a couple of guys, and they get all upset. I can't tell you why. It just happened.
Games make the passions run, I guess, in some people.
You know, tables may have been flipped. You know, as soon as their anger went through the roof, I decided it was time for me to leave, and I just got up and left.
Usually a wise plan once tables start being flipped is to leave.
Yeah, so how have you been?
I've been good. You know, training, all the fun stuff.
Nah, that's not fun.
It is when you're jumping across speeders.
You know, I found that I'd rather have my excitement sitting just in a cantina. A couple of people around a table, hanging out, just having a good old time.
Roll a perception check, Udell.
All right. Let me see. What's the difficulty?
It's going to be average. So 2 easy purple dice.
Yeah, no red this time?
You succeeded.
You did succeed.
Succeed with one advantage.
Great. So you see the light kind of click of a red light in the corner of a room that signifies a hollow projector being turned off, and it was pointed in your direction.
Okay.
What is your advantage? What else do you want to notice about the room? And this is a point where you could add something to the room that I haven't yet said is there or not there.
I think that this is actually going to be one of those little, almost like a serving barista style kind of cafes. So there's a lot of traffic with people standing around, making, kind of being in the way. The servers constantly moving around in between people.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, there's a lot of traffic going on, and we're gonna flip over at this point. You guys are still kind of sitting there talking, and a Duro in another room. He's not in this room. You don't see him, but an audience would see him. So you guys are my audience. So I got to tell you about him. A Duro sitting in a room with a silvered gray kind of black designed rag over his head, tied up do-rag style, is sitting in a room staring at a hollow projection of you guys talking in this cafe. You see him kind of reach behind his head and pull a sort of electrified monocle over his eye, and it's got kind of a C-shaped frame, but nothing inside the frame until he turns it on, and literally a spark goes from the inside of the C to the outside, connecting it, and it kind of gives him a reading of your names, where you live, all the information that would be in the HoloNet on the planet. So kind of your last known address kind of things. And he picks a blaster pistol up off the table and holsters it and grabs like a pile of 3 vibro knives and just tosses them into like a fanny pack essentially attached to his leg, a little mini satchel, zips it up, stands up, closes his holo projector, and walks out the room. And that's where we'll end this session. Thanks so much for joining us at Well, That Didn't Work. We hope to see you again next week.